Okie dokie, boys and girls, it is day 362 of bulking to 75 kilos with calisthenics only, and today we have a forearm day, but also a Q&A for 10,000 subs. So this video will be kind of two parts. Make sure that you use the chapters if you're only, interested in a part of the video, but basically, first I'm gonna do my forearm workout. I'm doing it partially because, well, I want to be rested tomorrow to test my bench, squat, and deadlift, and I guess overhead press too. But also, it's good to do some forearm accessories every once in a while to prevent your planche injuries. But anyway, first I'll be explaining which exercises I do to keep my forearms healthy, and then in the second part we have the Q&A. So choose which you want to watch, or don't choose and watch both. But anyway, first exercise for the planche, and well, these exercises are basically the ones that have made me not get injured in planche anymore. I used to get injured in planche all the time, as in, I would train for maybe a couple months to a couple weeks, and then, I would get stronger, but then I would get injured, and basically the cycle would repeat, right? But ever since I started doing these exercises on a regular basis, I haven't gotten injured anymore, which at the moment is more than a year. So, well, knock on wood, but that's like a personal record of mine. Anyway, first exercise, I think of 3 that I'm gonna do. So first exercise, 2 sets. I'm gonna do what I call the hammer lift. And basically you have like a dumbbell thing, but all the weight is on one side. You can use whatever you want, but basically I'm gonna straighten my arm and I'm gonna lift it up like this. So you saw the weight move up, and I'm using like this part of my forearm here, which is something that takes a lot of pressure in the planche. So I'm just gonna do this for reps. It's difficult when you have the hammer down because that's when the lever is the biggest, but basically you just pull up until the weight, or until the muscle in the forearm feels tired, right? But when you start out with this, when you already have pain, do it with high reps, like 20 to 30 reps. Once you figured it out and the muscle is strengthened enough, you can go to like lower rep ranges, but I would recommend, try to aim for at least 10 reps anyway. So yeah, 2 sets, let's go. All right. Whew. All right, 2 important things to notice. First of all, you don't have to aim for a lot of weight, because the further you move your hand out with the lever, right, the longer the lever is, the more the weight is away from your hand, the harder it's gonna feel with even the same amount of weight. So I use this weight. I like it a lot because I can basically track, okay, I have my hand inside and I use 4 kilos, or I can track it, I have my hand outside, I have it further away, and I'm using 4 kilos, or I can add weight. But basically, because I'm using weight, I can track my progress, based on how far my hand is away from the weight and how much weight I'm using. If you don't have weight, you can use it. That's the second thing I want to mention. You can use like just a band as well. You take it in your hand, you place your feet on it, and then you just make sure that you're pulling from your index finger all the way up like this, right? And then you have the same effect. I like this one less though, because, well, you can progressively overload it, but it's difficult to gauge, I guess. I guess if you want, for these bands, if you want to track your progress, make some signs on your band or whatever, so that you can gauge how far you are pulling the band, or how tight you are making the band before pulling it. But anyway, that's exercise number 1. Exercise number 2 is gonna be the hammer curl. Basically, I'm gonna take the weight in the same way, and I'm gonna do curls, but at the bottom, I'm gonna hold the weight up like this, and basically pull it up until the weight hits my shoulder. And, well, this mimics your strong grip in the planche. So in the planche, it's very important that you grip the bar as tightly as possible. And if you don't grip the bar tightly in this curl, basically, it's gonna just fall down. So it really mimics that you have to put force on your hand in the planche, right? And that's why I like it. But also, just like the previous exercise, and I lost count completely, it will put pressure on that forearm muscle that is always being used in the planche itself. So very good exercise. Important that the dumbbell is upright. I don't know if you can see it actually. All right, 2 sets done, and now it's time for exercise number 3. And now, when it comes to exercise number 3, I don't really know which muscles it stimulates. I just know that it makes me have a stronger grip, which is only going to benefit me in the planche, right? A stronger grip, stronger forearms in general are going to make it so that you get injured less easily in the planche. And well, I guess that's part of like the whole concept of bulletproofing your body. So oftentimes when we have something like a part in our body or some movement, right, that hurts, we try to avoid it. But I feel like, we should not avoid the movement. Instead, we should do the movement in like such a light manner that, the pain is bearable and that it recovers by the next day. And by repeating that over and over and over again, your body will learn that not only the movement is okay, but also that it has to get stronger in the movement. And if you do that for all the weak areas in your body, well, you basically become a German Panzerwagen, like nothing is gonna penetrate you anymore. So that's kind of the approach I take with rehab exercises or accessory exercises. I basically try and do them in order to bulletproof my body so that I don't get injured. Because if I don't, I'm a person that gets injured quite often, right? So for me, well, I guess getting injured quite often is not really a good thing, but in a sense, to me, it's a blessing as well because it makes me realize the importance of these exercises. And so I do them, I want to put in the effort for them because if I don't, well, I'm not gonna be able to train. But exercise number 3 is gonna be, I guess, like a hammer twister or something. I don't know what to call this, but basically, I'm gonna have my hand like this. I take it a bit more inside, I make the lever less long because this exercise is quite heavy with the same weight compared to the other ones. But I'm gonna be rotating my wrist inwards and outwards like this. And I'm basically just gonna repeat this for reps until it burns. But this as well, 2 sets, the rest time is just over, so perfect timing. Okay, so that's it for today's training. And well, I guess the grass is always greener on the other side when you're tired and you don't want to train. Resting seems like a dream, but if you want to go hard, then resting is a prison. It's hell. I just want to go hard again, but I guess I'll have to go and wait for tomorrow when I can unleash everything I have inside me. But anyway, that's it for today's training, and now it's time for Q&A. So yeah, I got a couple questions. I think I'm gonna be able to answer them all. So let's just go through them one by one. So yeah, the first one being, what do you think of the heavy duty training style? Do you think it works for calisthenics? Congrats on 10K. Greetings from MX. I don't know if that's like a location or a name, but thank you anyway. Do I think the heavy duty training style works? I believe you mean like Mike Menzer style. And I definitely think it does. Actually, I've used it on holiday as well when I went to Japan. It's not maybe like heavy duty, it was more like high rep, but I've used the 1 set method before and I think it works very well. Actually, my brother has great gains with this method as well. He does like 1 set of squats, I think once or twice a week, and he's like repping 100 kilos for 25 or something. It's insane. So I definitely think it works. But, I used it for pistol squats. I went up from, like, at the time, I injured my shoulder. I couldn't do anything upper body. And I wasn't training legs. So these were some newbie gains as well. But basically, I had a maximum of like 10 or 12 pistol squats at bodyweight. And basically, all I did was 1 set every training and I got all the way up to 50 reps at body weight and then 44 reps with 10 kilos added. So I made insane gains with the method, like not only strength wise, but also leg size wise. I like it a lot. Um, it works for basics, but maybe like not as well for planche and front lever and other complex exercises, maybe like handstand as well, because in order to learn those, like in order to get strong, you basically want to have your body adapt to a movement pattern. And if you only have like one set or not a lot of volume in general, basically the opportunity for your body to adapt is less, right? Your body doesn't have time to adapt to the movement because there isn't as much time under tension. So for hypertrophy, I think it's very good. You're gonna get stronger as well, but I think you're gonna get even stronger if you do like a classic multiple set approach, uh, like focused on technique and stuff like that, you know. But one, I guess, upside and downside as well of this method is it doesn't take a lot of time, you know. You can basically finish your training in 5 minutes if you want, especially if it's a bit higher rep. You can just do like one warm-up set and then go for it. You're done in 5 minutes. If you don't have time, great, that's perfect, because you only need to do this like a couple times a week. If you like training, yeah, that's not that's not very fun, is it? You know, like being done with training in 5 minutes. If you want to train a lot, that's not a lot of fun. So for me, you know, I prefer if I have the time to do other methods, but I definitely think it works for calisthenics. Next question. Can you make a compilation of 20 minutes of old and new training footage with every skill you achieved or PR'd? A Timmy's time traveler, if you will. I like the name. And I know this person who is asking the question. But I think I can make a compilation like that. I have some old footage on Instagram, but I don't have like old footage. Like I basically didn't start recording until I was training for like 8 months already when I had unlocked the front lever. And basically I was recording for the first time when I unlocked my first full planche, I believe. And well, that footage is probably lost and gone forever on some broken phone. But I have like footage from when I was, I think, like 17 or 18 years old, like very young and skinny, Timmy, if you will, that I can probably put together and actually make way more than 20 minutes. But that's a good idea. I'm actually looking for some video ideas because when I'm gonna be running, there will be, I think, twice a week, like a day where I'm just doing a maintenance leg day, you know, maintenance pistol squat, maintenance Nordic curl, maintenance probably like Bulgarian squat or hip extensions, and it's gonna be very boring. So I'm trying to like figure out a way how I can, you know, basically like today make two-parter videos where a bit of the video is like showing the actual training, which is probably gonna be boring but necessary as well. So I want to show it, but then also to just add something, right? Like perhaps a compilation or perhaps like answering to a question. If you have ideas, drop them in the comments. But also keep in mind that I have a full-time job and I don't have a lot of time to edit. You know, I edit this video while my chicken is cooking on, you know, on the heat. So yeah, that being said, next question. Which deep front lever bars are you using? All the ones I buy are not sturdy enough. God damn it, I should be sponsored, you know, the amount of times I get this question. For the deep bars, I'm gonna have to disappoint you. I bought these like 9 years ago. I have no single clue where I got them, you know. I forgot completely. But for the front lever bar, it's a brand called Vevor, I guess. I'll put it on the screen. But it's basically the Vevor portable pull-up stand. And you can, I think, buy it via Decathlon as well if you're in Europe. Otherwise, just, you know, on Amazon probably as well, you can find similar stuff, but I'll put like a name on the screen. Other question. Hello team, what do you do for a living and how do you manage work stress with training stress? I am a software engineer and basically I manage, well, I guess I don't really stress out about work. So basically for me, it's maybe not good to say this, but I care more about training than I care about work. And basically, when I get home from work, I don't really think about work during my training. Like, it doesn't happen often. While vice versa, you know, in the other way, I do think about training a lot when I'm at work. So it's basically, you know, I have to manage my training stress at work more than I have to manage my work stress during trainings, if you understand what I'm saying there. But you know, I'm also lucky with the fact that I don't have to do a lot of overtime. So basically, I leave my house just before 8 and then I get home just after 6. And I can basically predict how my day is gonna go. So I go for a run, then I head to work, and then I come back and I train and I edit and I go to sleep. That's basically how I manage it. So I guess I'm lucky, but also, I just try to keep my work stuff at work, and leave it there. All right, next question. How would you schedule a bodyweight bodybuilding program like your chest day with the push-ups or SMAF? I don't really understand this, but how would I schedule a bodybuilding program? Well, I guess I really like the one I have at the moment. Like, I would just do the split I have at the moment because I started out in this build with a different split, but I gradually got to this one. And basically, my split is a push day for upper body, then a push day or a pull day for upper body, so push and pull. And then I have a push day for lower body, which is quadriceps, and I have a pull day for lower body, which is hamstrings. And I just repeat this over and over and over and over again. And well, I can train every day, I can go hard every day, I recover properly, I get stronger. So yeah, I really like this split. For the chest, well, I just do push-ups. It's not a lot in detail, but I guess the way I don't really program it, I don't determine the amount of reps that I'm going to be doing in a couple weeks. I take like a bit of a side mission, I guess you can call it. So for example, when I started doing push-ups, my first mission, so to speak, was to get a lot of sets with 20 reps. And so at first it was like 11 sets, and then I got to 13 sets, and then 15, and so on. And basically, I just tried to do a little bit more with that still same style of training every time I was training, which is every 4 days. And then once you're satisfied with a certain level you're at, for example, I reached 1,000 push-ups that way, so it was like 50 sets. I was satisfied, and then I basically moved on to a different variation, and I could start over again trying to progress. That's when I started doing the Japanese push-ups, and so I started doing the Japanese push-ups, sets of 20. I got to like a full hour, which was 1,200 reps, and then I started doing longer sets, and then I got to like 10 sets of 50. Basically, every time I pick a small goal and I try to improve upon it, and that's how I program stuff. But everything kind of goes with the flow, I just pick something that seems like a fun challenge and I try to do my best there. And I try to do more and more and more and more until I can't. But yeah, every 4 days. Next question, let it crust or wipe. I'm going to choose to ignore this. Holy fucking shit. Would you ever regain your old skills again, like straight arm touch? Also, congrats on 10k. Thank you. I first watched you when I could only straddle planche, and now I'm able to full planche with 4 push-ups. Holy hell, that's a lot of progress. Yeah. So, question. Would you ever regain your old skills? So, I think there's a couple skills that I can definitely regain, especially like I'll be running a lot in the future after this build, but basically I'm gonna keep training every day. Running is probably gonna make me lighter, which is an advantage in the skill. I'm not gonna try and lose too much weight, but probably just naturally something will, like some weight will drop, right? And basically, because I want to focus on running, I'm gonna have to reduce the intensity of my regular skill trainings, but that also means that I can do them more frequently. And perhaps depending on how it goes, I'll be regaining some new skills, including a straight arm touch with. It's more of a power skill, so it's easy to recover. But yeah, that's definitely something to look forward to. Also, like, I did do one arm planche and stuff in the past. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do those again, like the Maltese and the one arm planche and stuff like that. The crazy ones, I'm, I'm a big boy right now. The last time I did those, I was 10 kilos lighter, but, let's see what happens. Are you planning on learning any new skills? At the moment, the skill I want to learn, I guess, is running, which, in my opinion, everything strength or everything in life basically is a skill, whether it's piano or it's front lever or planche or a push up or whatever you do, it's a skill, right? Because you have to learn it. I want to learn running, I want to get good at that. And other than that, the main goals will probably to have some push up endurance, to learn that skill as well. But when it comes to like, I think you actually mean like static skills. I just hope to at least maintain my strength at the moment. And then perhaps I can, like, if everything goes well, I can play around with some skills that I've done in the past as well, such as, Hephaestus or one arm front lever, one arm planche, and things like that, But we'll see, number one priority is going to be the running. I love to do random workouts every other day, but people say that random workouts don't work, even though I watch top athletes doing random combos in static and random workouts and trying new stuff into their workout routine. And I'm an advanced athlete. I never tried random just because of fear of not progressing. Please guide some way and solution. And congrats on 10K. Thank you. Thank you very much. As for your question, well, I don't believe that top athletes actually do random workouts. It might seem random, but just like I randomly progress in the push-up, as in I find something interesting and I try to improve upon it, I also think that top athletes will, take a combo and try to build upon it. So they have a kind of direction. Like if you do completely random workouts and you just don't think about what you're doing, like one day you're doing a squat and then the other day you're doing push-ups, but you're just doing it and never comparing it to what you were doing before, then I think, you're not really controlling your progression. You might be progressing, but at some point, I feel like, it's just gonna stop, because if you don't like have a single clue of what you're actually capable of, then, well, you also don't know if you're pushing yourself. But when it comes to like random workouts, it's not so much random workouts, but intuitive training. It might seem random, right? But you're just following, right? You're following how you're feeling, but you're also basing it off of what you were doing before. So I think a lot of these top athletes are just, doing combos, and then they think of a combo that's even crazier, and they try to do that one as well. And there's direction in that, and I think you can make a lot of progress with it as well. So hopefully that answers your question. Last question. Congrats on 10K. Are you going to push weighted calisthenics more or develop more advanced skills? Well, neither. I am going to be, running, like I mentioned. That's going to be my top goal. Eventually into marathon and ultra marathon as well, I'm hoping. But, that's something I'll have to wait and see for. But basically, I don't think I'll be doing a lot of weighted stuff, although I will be maintaining my size that I have at the moment. I think the main trainings that I will be doing is, well, first of all, endurance push-ups, and then second of all, I think like the most frequent workout will be actually the skills. But I don't want to make any promises on any goals there, because it's not really gonna be my main goal. I'm just gonna see what happens. I'm gonna be training planche and front lever frequently, most likely, but I have to see how my body responds to the running. So if everything goes well, I'll be doing advanced skills. I'll have a stronger planche than I have right now. I'll have a stronger front lever, perhaps an even more, enduring front lever, like an even longer hold, I guess, right? But that's, like I said, something I'll have to wait and see. But I will definitely keep training skills. Although I don't see the use in training weighted calisthenics at the moment, because if I train planche and front lever, I'm gonna be strong anyway. And other than that, I just want to get endurance. I feel like the push-ups are making my chest strong as well, and therefore also my weighted calisthenics even stronger, even if I don't train it. So yeah, that's kind of going to be the plan going into the future. But yeah, those are all the questions. Thank you very much for asking the questions. And well, I guess that's it for today. I'll see you tomorrow for the 1 rep maxes. I guess tomorrow, once I set foot into the gym, you can start spamming comments that I'm not a calisthenics athlete and that all of my gains came from the gym. So yeah, we'll see what happens.